Yeah, Sarah, from Waltham, Massachusetts.
Well, you don't have to get too specific, but Waltham, okay.
I was thinking you might know, but...
I know where Waltham is. I mean, I don't know specifically where you are, but I know where Waltham is.
Anyway, yeah, I'm calling. I have a couple quick things, and then a bigger thing.
I was in Stowe the other day.
Did you go skiing?
No,
Yeah.
Stowe, Massachusetts.
Oh, not. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm 23. I just turned 23, and I'm probably on the younger side of people who listen to this program.
Well, let's not get carried away.
Really,
I mean, we have a pretty young audience, surprisingly. You're certainly younger than I am, but go ahead.
I really enjoy your program, and
Thanks.
It's been very comforting to me over the years. As a child of immigrants and a person who is at a lot of intersecting identities and has a hard time in the world sometimes. But what I really wanted to talk about is how expensive it is to die in this country, because my father just died last week.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And we're coping. But the thing that I was really astounded by is that all of our savings have been wiped by funeral stuff and by, my mom called an ambulance for him, and they weren't able to save him, but we're waiting on the medical bills.
Oh, jeez.
And it's just like, how can you charge someone for not saving a person? And I've just been kind of, like, I don't even know how to cope with this kind of weird feelings towards our system right now. And, like, I'm also disabled and have my own medical needs, but, like, again, the fact that we're waiting on a medical bill for my father not being saved is horrifying to me. And I know I'm not the only one dealing with that.
Yeah.
Was there, can I ask you, like, what kind of, did you have any type of coverage at all?
Yeah, he had healthcare coverage, so we're hoping. But, so he died of a heart attack, and he had one 14 years ago. And we just paid off his medical debt from that one.
Oh, jeez.
So, anyway, it's not, I don't feel like a self-pity thing for me. But,
No.
Well, but it's indicative of a
really
serious
rough
problem
situation
we
some
have
people
in
are
this
in.
country.
I mean,
Yeah.
what you're experiencing is the exact rage that people understood in the wake of the killing of the healthcare CEO. That it's not justifiable, but it's understandable. And specifically, the most interesting part is the reaction to it. And your experience, I'm sure you have friends or family members or friends of your family that have gone through something, and I'm so sorry, but somewhat similar. Everyone has these horror stories with this rapacious industry that exploits people at their most vulnerable moments for profit.
There's a 60-year-old book by Jessica Mitford called The American Way of Death, which is an expose about all the business practices of funeral directors and stuff like that. We've never addressed that either. So.
yeah, it's like, we tried to do the smallest funeral we could, and it was so expensive.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know how anyone, my family is doing pretty okay. My dad made quite a bit of money, and we are struggling, and I don't know how anyone affords this.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand. Having gone through this recently myself, wasn't as sudden, I think, as your situation, but I'm sorry. It's really bad.
Thanks for taking my call. I really do. It's a comfort to have this program to listen to, and to not feel like I'm alone with all of these weird mixing feelings about the world.
Yeah.
You're definitely
You
not
guys
alone.
really do great coverage, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for the call, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Hope it works out.
Thanks.
Sorry for
All right.
your loss.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ay.
Yeah.
Like, the idea a week out from your father passing that you have to worry about this is just insane. Kennedy's brainworm. I work in life insurance. It's a crime that people require life coverage, not to have their livelihoods upended by the loss of a loved one. I really feel sorry for that caller. Stockholder syndrome. I think the United Healthcare CEO killing will be seen as the Franz Ferdinand moment for an upcoming societal collapse. Happy New Year.
Okay. Wow. It's certainly a moment that I think will be written about and perhaps will lead to a constructive conversation at some point.
Anti-rocker. The ambulance can bill people $10,000 for a ride as the medic makes $15 an hour. I've been a paramedic for 25 years and I'm scared EMS is about dead. A lot of ambulance companies are shutting down and no one volunteering because of the requirements and the education sucks. Left is best.
And yet you have venture capitalists acting like these contractor startups that they're going to outfit some vans that are available on an app are to solve the problem, because we can't actually solve a problem unless investors are going to be the main beneficiaries of solving it.
Calling from an 863 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Sam. My name's Audrey Rose Beavers. I'm calling from McGuire Air Force Base, New Jersey, actually.
Audrey from McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey. What's on your mind, Audrey?
Hey, so I'm a transgender woman. I wanted to share some thoughts about Trump's proposed reinstatement for the military ban on transgender service members. He says he's going to do it on day one if reelected. To give some context, I've been in the United States Air Force since 2016, and I started my transition in 2017. I was one of the first service members to navigate that process inside the military. I survived his first ban because I was grandfathered in, and I was allowed to finish my term. Thankfully, President Biden reversed the discriminatory policy when he took office, but this time I don't think I'm going to be as lucky.
Right.
Yeah, it's clear to me that Trump and much of the right have become more organized and strategic since his last term. It makes this ban feel very looming and more real and dangerous.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go over some numbers. I'm obviously a leftist, and being in the military is kind of a weird... for someone who's in the military, I'm not really a fan of being in the military, but some people have to do what they have to do to survive. But there's an estimated about 15,000 transgender service members that they would end up kicking out if they go through with it. The military, ironically enough, is the largest employer of transgender people in the country, and transgender people are more than twice as likely to serve compared to the general population. And
why do you think that is?
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm able to disclose, but I think that being a marginalized person, a lot of recruiting offices and a lot of areas that they pick up recruitment are in like impoverished areas. And just being LGBTQ in general, a lot of us end up out of house and home with no family support on the streets, and a lot of our choices are either to go into, a certain line of work or join the military. And I think that's why that happens, is that a lot of us end up either joining, we're closeted and we join, and then Obama, before he left office, made it so we could serve openly, which was really nice. And a lot of our healthcare gets covered too. So a lot of people join exclusively for like the
benefits. Well, you have you have health, your base healthcare basically, right, taken care of, right, and then you can worry about your transition care separately almost. I mean, it's the same reason as you say that LGBTQ people are much more susceptible to being homeless, right, than other groups. But veterans are the other group that are on the front lines as well. Yeah, and I'm super worried about, like, if they do kick us out, there's two different ways they could do it. They can just do like a medical discharge and we can keep all our benefits and et cetera. There's a nefarious thing they can do that I'm extremely worried about, where if they pass the definitions where it's like, oh, there's only two sexes, they could go as far as we like lied to the government on our paperwork, and we could get like dishonorably discharged if they would. And I don't want to give them any ideas. I don't think any of them really watched the Majority Report. Hopefully not. But if it does go down that route, it would be very, very dangerous and very problematic for people like myself. It's very scary.
Wait, what would be the grounds though for a dishonorable discharge?
If they turned around and said like, hey, there's only two sexes, male and female, you lied on this paperwork. Like, let's say that you got your documents changed from male to female or something.
But they can't do
could
that
try
in
to-
retrospect, do you think? I mean, from as a legal perspective, I mean, maybe going forward, I would imagine.
Yes.
But I can't. I mean, and again, I will reiterate the caveat that I stated up front on today's show, was that 8 years ago was a completely different judiciary than it is today, in large part because of Trump's 4 years in office. But I got to think that any judge looking at the question, and maybe it's, I don't know if this would be out of jurisdiction. I don't know how it works with that relationship between civilian and military justice. But I got to think, if you are in the military at a time where their perspective is that trans people are real and it is okay for you to be trans in the military, if they change the regulations, I can't see how they can dishonorably discharge you for entering in an era where what you were doing was not, you were not lying, you were not fraudulent at that time. It's hard for me to imagine they could do that, but again, with the caveat of like, we could be in an all bets are off type of situation.
Yeah. And that's just me being hyperbolic and thinking like the worst case scenario.
Right.
In reality, it's probably just going to be medical discharges across the board. But me and my friend, who also used to be in the military, we were crunching the numbers, and 15,000 people being discharged is upwards of like $3 billion worth of manpower they're losing and having to replace us. It's a lot of money, that it would cost the military and the government in general to
at a time,
all of us, especially
at a time when recruiting is difficult.
Yeah, and recruiting is so difficult. And the average, I think I mentioned this earlier, but your average trans person is a senior non-commissioned officer with 12 years of experience. Like,
yeah, you can't get that in day one. I mean, but definitionally.
Yeah. It's wild to me. I don't know. It's going to be a administrative nightmare if he tries to do it. And it was pretty intense the first time he tried to do it. But the thing is that a lot of the like upper echelon officers that like defended us last time, they're on like his hit list, because I know he mentioned he's trying to clear out a lot of these people that defied him the first time, and I'm not sure what avenues he's going to take with all the people he's trying to flood his cabinet with. It's very.
But I mean, imagine, when you talk about $3 billion worth of manpower to deal with essentially like processing all of these people out of the military, and I don't know if that includes replacing them, but that seems like such a massive project. And there is no doubt in my mind that one of the things that, if you were to ask, I don't know, 100 Trump voters, why did you vote for Trump? Some significant percentage of them, I don't know if it would be 10%, 20%, 50%, 75%. We need military readiness.
Yeah.
And in fact, like, you couldn't ask for a greater, this is of course putting aside the implications for those 15,000 people, because, you're a career military person and you get kicked out is devastating. But just as on their own terms, this is just such a waste of time. So stupid. And so self-defeating.
And I'm honestly terrified of losing everything. Like, this is my job, my housing, my education, my health insurance. Like, it's like my livelihood for myself and those 15,000 other people. Like, the job market's not the best in a lot of the areas that, granted, if we get honorable discharge, a lot of times we can move to our whatever place of choosing and they'll pay for it. But not a lot of options out there. As for someone like myself to move to, because a lot of states made it illegal for me to be myself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you're going through this, and I appreciate your updating on us. And I'm also sorry that you're going to miss the war with Mexico or the invasion of Canada that you may have been looking forward to. But
it's criminal.
but do appreciate the call, and good luck, and keep us updated.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for taking my call. Left is best. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Good luck. I mean, for a lot of us, the implications of a second Trump administration, we're going to feel, down the road.
Yeah.
For a wide array of people, they're going to feel it on day one or day two or by February 1st or whatnot. Their lives are going to be completely upended. Trans folk, immigrants, people born in this country, but parents, maybe immigrants, people brought to this country as small children. I mean, these are communities that are going to be frontline canaries in the coal mine, as it were.
Yep. I mean, we're already there's no way to unite with MAGA. It's about defeating them. And we've just received multiple calls from people who are going to, in one way or have been, or one way or the other, going to be affected, their lives harmed by the Trump administration, whether it's the caller previously, with the fact that we won't do, that there's potentially privatization of our healthcare services, even more so under Donald Trump, which is being floated, attacking entitlements, or this attack on trans people. It's not just about a brand. These have this political movement by Donald Trump was going to inflict pain on millions of Americans. So I don't really think it's, I think we're going to find cracks to exploit, but it doesn't meet the moment to downplay this. It's going to be a painful time period for a lot of people.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.